From now on, your parents aren't your parents anymore. Don't believe a word they say. Hope you make it through today. Safe, dear player. Game on. I checked the number. It wasn't in my contacts. Xiaozhong, come out. Dinner's ready. I got your favorite braised pork. I hate braised pork. Mom knows that. Just as I was about to open the door, suddenly, then I remembered that weird text. Could mom at the door have already not been my real mom? How's that possible? Mom, you got it wrong. I hate braised pork. Oops, mom forgot. I'll swap it for something else. Oh, and in a bit, your best friend Jian is coming over to hang out. Clean up first. Hearing Jian, I froze. Jian died in a fall 6 months ago, and mom knew it. I got more and more scared and slowly backed up. Mom at the door kept telling me to open up, then to eat, then saying my friend was coming by. It got weirder and weirder. After a while, there was no sound outside. I sighed in relief. Looks like if I stay in here, I should be fine. Every home on our hall has a camera. Then I opened my phone. The camera feed. On the feed, he was standing at my door, holding a stick. Shit, they really weren't my parents. Maybe some monster had replaced them. I couldn't even think what would have happened if I'd gone out. What do? I can't stay in here forever. I pulled up the text and replied, what should I do? A moment later, my phone dinged. The room's safe for now, but you have to leave home before sunrise tomorrow, or they'll break in and kill you. I'm on the 16th floor. To get out, I have to go through the living room to the hall, elevator or stairs. But the living room route is out, and I can't jump out the window. And this is the 16th floor. Time kept ticking by, and before I knew it, it was dark. All day, I'd had just half a cup of water and a stale bun. I kept watching the camera screen on my phone. They stood outside my door with their sticks. At 8 sharp, I heard from the window a noise in the street. They were setting off fireworks outside. I was weirded out, and it wasn't New Year's or a holiday. Why were they setting off fireworks? Just then, I heard footsteps at the door. I quickly opened the camera feed, the screen, and saw my parents rush out. Even though they were gone, I still didn't dare move. I figured maybe it was because nightfall showing up made them leave, or maybe the fireworks outside did. I stayed by the window, watching fireworks going off in a small square. Around a dozen people nearby, all like my parents, holding sticks. Looks like the fireworks drew them over. 5 minutes later, I turned on my phone's monitor. He was standing at my bedroom door again. I did the math. From the fireworks going off to my parents coming back, it was about 15 minutes, meaning next time the fireworks go off, I've got 15 minutes to run for my life. And I was getting more and more hopeless. Then, outside, a huge blast of fireworks going up. I quickly turned on the surveil feed. Sure enough, my parents had already run outside. I grabbed the chance, opened the door, and crept out. I saw the elevator wasn't moving. I guessed they'd taken it, so I tore down the stairs. At 4 a.m., the street was still pitch black. I stepped outside and carefully looked toward the little square. Over there, a crowd had gathered. Then my phone rang, and it felt like a lifeline. I quickly opened the text. Congrats, player. You've cleared level 1. Now, hurry to Shadiao No. 1 High School and meet up with the other surviving players there. It wasn't far from here, at 4:25 a.m. I arrived at the gate of Shadiao No. 1 High School. There, I saw the other survivors. Counting me, there were 5 of us. Every floor in this school had been searched, 3 floors total. Once you go in, you black out for no reason, and on the next day, when you wake up, you're back in the duty room. Dear players, all 5 survivors have now gathered. Please get some rest. When night falls, we'll begin the next game. Game, my ass. Like human lives mean nothing. Then teacher Wang Li cut in. Hurry and find somewhere to sleep. Get some rest. Let's see what happens tonight. I hadn't slept for a full day and night. Only then did I feel how heavy my body was. We picked a dorm room and fell asleep fast. At 7 p.m., my phone alert woke me. Players, now enter the first floor and start exploring. Before they beat you to death, find what's wrong. Hint, after you enter, the people around you may not be who you know. Stay alert to everything around you. They? What are they? Are we gonna get beaten to death? The text shocked us all. We looked at each other, then went into the first floor together. Oh, the first floor was all classrooms. I could hear reading voices from every room. I was just about to enter one classroom, but when I turned, I found the other 4 people beside me were gone. I looked around in terror, but saw no sign of anyone else. My back broke out in a cold sweat. I had no choice now. My legs shaking, I forced myself into a classroom. There was only one empty seat next to a girl. The moment I sat down, the girl beside me quietly cried. She had short hair, but I noticed scissor marks in it, like it had been cut. Suddenly, on the platform, the teacher who'd been lecturing looked at me. Class rules. Don't just talk or chat with each other. I jumped. A few seconds later, I realized the classroom was freakishly quiet, and all the students were staring at me with eerie smiles on their faces, and their pupils were much small for the normal people's. I froze. My gut told me these people were the they from the text. If I don't do something, they'll kill me. You don't deserve to sit here. You don't deserve to sit here. I was badly shaken, and my head started to hurt. When the whole class heard him, it was like they were egged on. They all left their seats and started coming at me. The girl beside me, who'd been softly crying, also started screaming, her cry sharp and piercing. My frayed nerves finally snapped. If I didn't run now, they'd probably tear me apart alive. I ran and ran, hearing a mess of footsteps behind me. Were they chasing me? They can't catch me. They absolutely can't. I quickly ran to the end and saw a restroom at the end of the hall. I didn't hesitate and hid inside. They didn't seem to chase me in. I relaxed a little and looked over the place, seeing if there was another way out. Soon I noticed some hair scattered on the floor. It made me think of the girl who sat beside me. Her hair looked like it'd been cut off. Was it cut here? Could she have been bullied at school? I can't stay hidden in the bathroom forever. If I can't find a useful clue, I might be trapped here forever. I carefully opened the door a crack and saw no one outside. I quickly walked out and suddenly spotted a door-marked office. There had to be some clue inside. I went in and checked every desk. Then I found a hardship aid application. There was a photo on it. A girl? Was it that girl? Just then, someone else came into the office. I tensed up. I thought they'd found me. I was just about to run when I saw Mr. Shannon. Wong Li, damn, you scared me. Find anything? I saw a poverty grant application. Wong Li picked it up and looked at it for a bit. Then he tossed it aside. If she's that poor, why even go to school? I stared at him in shock. I couldn't believe that came from a teacher. Back in high school, I'd seen with my own eyes how school bias and bullying could destroy someone. You're a teacher too. How can you say something like that? You don't even have basic ethics. What right do you have to teach? The male teacher said nothing, just stared at me coldly. My body started shaking. A creepy smile curled on his lips. His face kept twitching, then soon vanished into thin air. I was so scared I couldn't move at all. The people around us might not be the people we know anymore. That teacher must have been replaced. He had to be one of them. At the same time, I guess that in this space, as long as I can find something illogical, like a teacher breaking basic ethics, I can defeat them. I walked out of the office. Somehow, that classroom had appeared again. I saw them, and they saw me too. I took off running, and they chased me hard from behind. And he must have broken teacher ethics too. I stopped, turned to that teacher, and shouted, "You don't deserve to be a teacher." You verbally bullied that girl. Sure enough, right after I said it, the teacher vanished into thin air. This should be over, right? I found what didn't make sense, but those students were still chasing me. I must have missed something. Soon, I was cornered at the end of the hall, and the students behind me slowly closed in. One had a stick, and pretty soon a few of them grabbed me and pinned me down. Seeing me restrained, the others raised their sticks and slowly came closer. I could guess what they wanted. I fought hard, and then one student suddenly slashed at me with a needle. I jerked my head aside and dodged it, but a lock of my hair got cut. I thought of those strands I'd seen in the bathroom. You bastards. You're the ones who cut that girl's hair. Just then, I think I heard footsteps. It was Wong Li walking toward me. Xiaozhang, you okay? After what just happened, I didn't dare trust her. I picked up a stick. I pointed it at her. Don't come closer. Wong Li stopped. Where were you just now? I just saw a girl with her hair cut off. That proved the bullying. And who did it? Then they vanished, which means she was real. I let out a breath. One by one, the other teammates came out of the other classrooms. They'd all found clues too. Peng Hu cleared it first. As an actual high school student, He could pick up on this stuff fast. After finding out the teacher looked down on poor students, he started fighting that teacher right in the classroom. Anyway, this isn't a real school. You scum needed a beating. Then the little bully clique got hit by Ponghu's iron fists too. Yang Rong had handled juvenile bullying cases for years, so she quickly figured out what had happened too. Da Kun and Wang Li went through pretty much the same thing I did. Once we checked everything, we got ready to leave the first floor. But just as we were about to leave the building, I saw someone standing not far away. I looked closer. It was the girl who'd been sitting beside me. A cold glint flashed. I saw a knife in her hand and all of us froze. None of us dared move rashly. The girl moved first, walking toward us one step at a time. I thought of my parents yesterday, standing at my door with knives. Back then, fireworks distracted them. If we had fireworks, maybe we could stall her for 15 minutes. Anybody got fireworks? Where the hell would we get fireworks now? Would smoke work? Da Kun pulled out a pack of cigarettes. I really couldn't think of any other way. Had to give it a shot. I lit one, and when the girl saw the glow in my hand, she stopped moving. I quickly threw it out. The girl saw the spark and instantly ran toward it. We used that brief opening and ran straight for the duty room. As soon as we got inside, our phones chimed. Congrats, players. You've cleared this stage. Please get some rest. There was food and water in the duty room. We sat down and used the daytime to recover fast. At 7 that night, our phones chimed again. Players, a new round has begun. Please proceed to the second floor. Before they beat you to death, find what's wrong. Hint, once inside, trust your teammates. Teammates are never reliable. Something felt more and more off. Yesterday's text had warned us that once inside the school, the people around us might be dangerous. But today's text said the teammates beside us were safe. We looked at each other, then headed up to the second floor. The second floor was laid out about the same as the first, just with an extra director's office. I was going to call them over to check the dean's office with me. But when I turned around, my scalp went numb. There was no one behind me, just a deathly pale face only inches away. White as paper, with no pupils. I screamed and ran. At the same time, that thing behind me let out a shrill howl, and heavy footsteps thundered after me. I didn't care about anything else. I bolted for the dean's office. Once inside, I locked the door. I leaned on it and listened hard outside. Only when I heard nothing outside did I breathe a little easier. Then I looked around the office. It was pretty normal. Besides the desk, there was a small couch by the wall. There were some clothes on it. I stepped closer, then frowned. There were a few clothes on the couch, plus one clearly women's item. What the hell? Why would there be personal clothes in here? Help, help. Anyone in there? Someone started pounding on the office door, screaming at the top of his lungs. My heart jumped right into my throat. It caught up that fast. I moved to the door. Who's out there? Principal, is that you in there? It's Ponghu. Let me in. A woman with no eyes is trying to chop me to death. Hearing Ponghu getting chased and hacked outside, I quickly opened the door and let him in. He kept patting his chest, muttering non-stop. Scared me to death. Scared me to death. I looked at him, half amused. Weren't you pretty brave downstairs? You even dared make a move on that female teacher. Why so chicken now? Didn't you see the knife in her hand? I almost got killed. After Ponghu calmed down, he started looking around the office. Then he cursed. That dean's gotta be a sick freak. If these panties aren't his own, then he must have been harassing female students. I thought about it. He had a point. Could this be the main task on this floor? Find the dean and expose what he did to students. But looking at Ponghu, I honestly admired him. He really did have a sense of justice. He looked at me. For some reason, his eyes were shadowed. You don't get it. I'm a student at this school. This happened here 2 years ago, too. I didn't quite get it, and he let out a sigh. The one who got harassed back then was my best friend. The grade dean was a total bastard. One noon during break, I went to the office to hand in a leave slip. The door wasn't locked, and the second I walked in, I saw something I shouldn't have. I knew what he meant. Back in high school, a friend of mine went through something like that too. I thought of Shen Xing, that bright, sunlight girl from back then. In high school and college, we went to the same school. One year, when I celebrated her birthday, she leaned on my shoulder and cried nonstop. She told me about that dark time. I felt so guilty. But somehow, I couldn't remember what Shen Xing looked like. It was strange. She was clearly my best friend, but I just couldn't remember her face. Then we cracked the door open. After making sure the hall was safe, we slowly stepped out. We checked several classrooms in a row, but found nothing useful. Then we ran into the male teacher, Wang Li. He had no clue either and hadn't even made it to the dean's office. We told him what had just happened. Sure enough, Wang Li frowned too. Then, while we were running around like headless flies, a sound suddenly came from the dean's office. Penghu and I looked at each other and decided to go back. The moment we got near the door crack, we heard a girl crying. Inside, a big man was pinning down a small girl. The girl kept crying, and the man's hands kept roaming over her. The crying in my ears slowly overlapped with a piece of memory, and I felt a blaze of rage rise in me. I was about to kick the door in, but Penghu beat me to it. A basketball slammed into the guy, and he yelped. Then he fought back. Wang Li and I jumped in too. Wang Li rushed him, grabbed him from behind, and pinned him. But Wang Li was quickly thrown off. A man kicked Wang Li hard, and he dropped, unable to get back up. I spotted a big glass on the table and didn't hesitate for a second. I grabbed it and smashed it over his head. Blood ran down his face, and then suddenly, he stopped moving. I was behind him and couldn't see his face. The next second, his head snapped back toward me, but his body didn't move. His head had turned at an angle no normal person could manage. I knew this was bad. I was just about to run when he grabbed my hair, and a sharp pain shot through my scalp. He yanked me over, pinned me to the floor, and wrapped a hand around my throat. "You animal! You harassed that girl!" I was crying from the choking. I forced those words out with my last bit of strength, but nothing changed. I was almost desperate. How could this be? Wasn't this floor's clue supposed to work? His hand was like wire around my neck. I couldn't do a thing. My eyes rolled back, and just as I was about to black out, I heard a bang. Penghu was standing there, panting, still clutching an office chair. He'd saved my life. Then, the middle-aged man we'd knocked down got back up, and somehow he was already behind Penghu. My throat tightened. I tried to warn him, but no sound came out. I'd only just gotten my voice back when the man grabbed Penghu and threw him out the open window. I ran straight to the window. It was only the second floor, just 3 or 4 meters up, but what I saw next broke me. There was a tree below, but for some reason, it had been turned into a cone, right below and pointed at the top. Penghu had been skewered on that point. I screamed in total collapse. I couldn't believe the guy who'd been full of life was just gone. That man came at me. He wanted to shove me out too. I had no time to dodge and could only watch as I slammed into him everything I had. He was caught completely off guard. "Run!" We bolted out of the office. But after just a few steps, he caught up. "Run! Hurry!" She turned back and started fighting that man. I didn't even need to think to know. Wang Li was no match for a grown man. He beat her to the floor in no time. I hated myself. At a time like this, I couldn't do anything but watch. What exactly is this floor's main clue? I'd already pointed out the part that made no sense. Was there more? Why wasn't it working? I shouted it again, praying for some kind of miracle. The man looked up at me and let out a creepy smile. Was it me? Really me? Or... No, that can't be. He was the one harassing that schoolgirl, so how could it be me? Bullshit! It was Wang Ye! He did it! The man shouted excitedly like he'd gone insane. Everything around us started stirring. The classrooms beside us, empty just a second ago, now seemed packed with people. "You bastard, it was you. You set all this up." The crowd kept shouting, all telling Wang Li to do it. What do we do? What now? I looked at Wang Li. Her eyes were blank, like she'd lost her soul. I shook her, trying to snap her out of it. But Wang Li ignored me. As the crowd closed in, I was freaking out. I looked at Wang Li again. Through tears, she said, "I'm innocent." I didn't do it. Like she was being controlled, Wang Li walked toward the crowd. "Wang Li, are you crazy? You're innocent. Say it out loud." I grabbed her hand, but she was insanely strong. She dragged me to the dean's office. "Wang Li, what are you doing? You're innocent." Like she couldn't hear me, Wang Li walked to the window. Outside, the crowd kept screaming for her to die. I turned and yelled, "He's innocent, not him. You can't frame a good person." But the crowd kept raging. Wang Li turned to me. "Xiaozhang, you don't get it. Public opinion can crush a person." Then she turned and jumped. Below were tree trunks, sharp like spikes. I stared as Wang Li's body was pierced through. The second Wang Li jumped, the raging crowd vanished too. I knew Wang Li was innocent, but that furious crowd didn't. They only knew someone had to pay, Behind me was that man's sneer. He slowly came closer. You're next. You saw it too, so you also have to... I turned and glared at him. You sexually harassed them, then framed them too. Damn right. If it happened to you, would you call the cops? If you did, how'd you face your family and friends? As long as no one reports it, I'm safe. You scumbag. You should be ashamed, not the girls you harassed. I just threatened them a little, and they got too scared to call the cops. Serves them right for being weak. He was only a few steps away. I shut my eyes. I had nowhere left to go. Then someone spoke. Yang Rong appeared at the door, papers in hand. No way. I took pictures. If you dare call the cops, I'll send them to their relatives, classmates, and post them online. She threw the papers at the man. Open your damn eyes. That's the police filing receipt. And those photos you took. Those photos were logged at the station as evidence too. No way. No way. You should pay for this. And everyone you hurt should stand up and accuse you. You brought this on yourself. That man vanished into thin air. Then my phone buzzed with a text. Congrats to the surviving players for clearing round 2. In such a short time, we never thought we'd lose 2 teammates. Then we headed for the school building, exit together. On the way, Yang Rong told me that once we reached the 2nd floor, we got separated. At first, she didn't hear us at all. Until she found the photos and filing receipt in a classroom backpack. Then she heard noise from the dean's office. You made it out. In a classroom, Da-kun came out shaking. Looks like he'd been hiding there the whole time. But I wasn't in the mood to argue with him, so I told him to move. Come on. Just as we were about to leave the building, I heard footsteps behind us. The 3 of us looked at each other. Sure enough, that short-haired girl just wouldn't go away. I ran into her everywhere, but this time she didn't have the stick. She stayed some distance away, like she wasn't coming after us. That made me less tense. She didn't move, but it sounded like she made some kind of noise. It was hoarse and awful, like she was trying to say something. Since she didn't seem to want to hurt us, we hurried back to the guard room. Once we got into the duty room, our phones chimed. Congrats, players. You cleared this level. Please get some rest. I sat on the couch, wide awake, thinking about Wang Li and Fat Tiger. There was no way I could sleep. The other 2 were up too. 2 people died in one day. No one was in the mood to sleep. Thinking Da-kun made it to the end, I still had to ask, Da-kun, how'd you survive without doing anything? Da-kun's name sounds tough, but he really doesn't look it. He stammered, unable to explain. I could already tell he didn't know either. I told them everything I went through, from entering the 2nd floor to leaving the school building. Yang Rong frowned as she listened. Those photos weren't taken by you? I was confused. What photos? The ones I found in the backpack. Besides the photos that man took of the girls, there were also shots from outside the window of him committing the crime. That's the most direct evidence. Someone got clear evidence. Who was it? Da-kun raised his hand. I took them. When I'm bored, I like taking random street shots outside my restaurant. My place faces that director's office. One time I snapped a photo and caught it. The curtain happened to be open too. I got mad hearing that. If you caught it on camera, why didn't you call the cops? I just thought, less trouble's better. I was angry but had nothing to say. Most people think that way in a situation like this, and that's why scum keeps getting away with it. I don't even know what happened. How did those photos get printed? Maybe that's why I cleared the level? Yang Rong was angry too, but just as helpless. In cases like this, the victim has to overcome it and speak up first. Otherwise, even if others want to help, they can't do much. The 3 of us dozed a little, then talked a little. Soon it was night. At 7, our phones woke us with a chime. Players, now into the 3rd floor and begin exploring. Find the floor before dawn. This is the final level. Level. Good luck, players. Now only 3 of us were left. Bad as we felt, we still headed up to the 3rd floor. There were only a few rooms on the 3rd floor. The most eye-catching one was the principal's office. We knew the final answer had to be here. I pushed the office door open first. Inside was laid out much like the director's office, except an old man sat upright in the chair. I asked, "Who are you?" Yang Rong nudged me and motioned at the photo frame on the wall. I looked over. There were 2 people in the picture. One was that scumbag director from the 2nd floor. The other was the old man in front of us. They were standing close together, looking very close. "Are you father and son?" The old man nodded. Did he know his son had committed such monstrous crimes? Suddenly, the old man took out 2 things. One was a DSLR camera. The other was a bank card. Really? You want to buy us off with money? 2 voices rang out almost at once. The first was Yang Rong, the second was Da-kun. Yang Rong and I stared at Da-kun in disbelief. For money, you'll throw away your conscience? Da-kun glanced at us guiltily, but still stepped forward and took the bank card. I tried to stop Da-kun, but he shoved me. Da-kun took the camera, fiddled with it, then asked the old man, "Like this? Can I go now?" The old man nodded. When Da-kun tried to leave, I blocked his way and slapped him hard. Stunned, Da-kun clutched his face and pointed at me. "Are you crazy? Fine. What'd I do wrong? Why should I die with you guys? Those two are already dead. I don't want to die." Da-kun shoved me aside and bolted downstairs. He was probably already dreaming of life as a millionaire. We were in the principal's office on the 3rd floor, and the window looked right out at the school gate. Just as Da-kun was about to reach the gate, boom, Young-rong and I jumped in shock. Da-kun was gone. All that was left was a pool of blood. Then my phone dinged with a text. Player broke the rules, immediate elimination. So, running off with the money wasn't gonna work. I looked at the old man. "Do you know what your son did?" "My son did?" "No, it was Long Li." I stared at that creepy head, my teeth chattering, but I forced down the shake and squeezed out through clenched teeth. "No way, your son's a pervert and you helped him." The old man was clearly enraged. "Then you all can die." His basketball spun twice in the air and came flying at me. We both ran for our lives toward the door, but where could we hide? Every classroom door was locked tight. I couldn't open a single one. The hall wasn't that long. If we hit the end, we'd be caught. That weird basketball was still chasing us. Young-rong got caught fast. It slammed to the floor, then bit into Young-rong's calf. Young-rong screamed and fell. I heard a nasty crunching sound, flesh being torn, then clenched my teeth, and aimed a hard kick at the ball on Yang-rong's leg. But Yang-rong was hurt. The skin on her calf had split open. If you just kept your mouth shut, nothing would have happened. Why dig it up? Didn't someone already take the fall? Criminals should pay. If trash like you don't rot in prison, I won't rest in peace. The old man roared. No one's gonna speak up. If victims say it out loud, they won't be able to live with people anymore. He had it all twisted. Talking sense to him was useless. His basketball came at me again, and in a flash it was right in front of me. I reflexively raised my arm to block it, but it still blasted me back hard. At the last second, a flash of cold light, something came flying over. Short hair, deathly pale face, him again. But this time, I could hear exactly what he was saying. Not everyone supports you speaking up. The old man got even angrier. While the two of them fought, Yang-rong and I ran for the stairs. Suddenly, creak, a faint sound by my ear. A classroom door next to us had opened. A young face peered through the crack. The person slowly opened the door. It was a girl. She was asking while crying. Yang-rong and I looked at each other. This was another victim. Just be brave and say it, sis. The more you fear them, the bolder they get. They've got photos to blackmail you with, so you don't dare call the cops. But shouldn't it be the abuser who's scared? They're the ones who should pay. You really gonna let them get away with it? I reached out and held the girl's tiny hand. It was ice cold. She kept her head down, tears falling to the floor. Then she nodded, stepped out, and stood before the old man. The short-haired girl was fighting him, nearly spent. Just then, Yang-rong got knocked flying by his basketball too. The old man saw the girl standing in front of him too. He sneered. "Just you? Who'd believe a word you say? You're He Lily from class 7, grade 2, right? Aren't you scared of getting expelled? Trash like him might not fear photo threats, but these high school girls sure fear expulsion." Sure enough, He Lily got scared and started trembling a little. Don't be scared. Trust the law. Scum like this will pay sooner or later. I shouted, just hoping she wouldn't back down. If she did, no one could help them anymore, and we'd never leave this world. A door in another classroom opened too. A little head peeked out, like she was bracing herself. The door beside it opened too. More and more locked doors opened, and more girls came out. They walked toward the old man. He stared at them in horror and backed up a few steps. No, but then he viciously threatened. "Then I'll expel every last one of you." No one knew what was happening in this school. Evil draws strength from its victims giving in. Once victims fight to protect themselves, abusers lose all power. The girls formed a circle around him. Under everyone's gaze, he screamed, then vanished into thin air. One girl tapped Yang-rong on the forehead. Yang-rong slowly turned transparent, then disappeared. I stared at her in shock. She was really gone. Then she tapped my forehead too. A wave of dizziness hit me. My sight and hearing slowly blurred. I felt my body go limp and my mind grew hazy too. In the last few seconds, I heard that voice.
忘了，我是沈星啊，谢谢你，小张。
On the hospital bed, I slowly opened my eyes, tears running down. Yeah, how could I forget Shenxing? Shenxing grew up poor, and we were best friends. We went to the same high school, then the same college. Back in high school, some punks bullied her for being poor, and I fought them off. But I never knew the grade dean was scum assaulting her and many other girls. In college, she told me everything. With my support, she decided to call the cops. The next day after that, she fell to her death. They ruled it an accident. Wang Li was our high school math teacher. She noticed girls in class were being harassed. When she tried to report it, the dean framed her. In the end, unable to bear the parents' rage, she was driven to suicide. Zekun got photos of the dean with his DSLR, but soon after he died in a bizarre car crash. After Shenxing died, only Yang Rong and I kept fighting for her, and now on Dakun's computer we found this. The backup's enough to convict the dean, and in the photos, they also found 3 years ago Fat Tiger didn't fall by accident. The dean pushed him. And the old frame-up case was cleared up too. Ms. Wang Li was innocent. Dakun was killed by a small truck. A student drone club was holding an event then, and the drone caught the whole thing. Even the plate number was crystal clear. They caught the owner fast. He confessed the principal told him to kill him, then make it look like a traffic accident. The principal was taken in too. Must have been heaven watching over us for this case to suddenly break open. Then I suddenly thought of Shenxing, that starlight girl. She loved fireworks most.